Oh, spring is in the air. This is the weather we've been waiting and hoping for. It's been feeling long in the coming. So as the weather warms up, people are asking more and more about what the plans are for the summer and where we're going. And there's a really long-winded answer, but the short one is we're just not exactly sure yet. With my mom's cancer, she gets scans every couple months. So scans gave us good news, and we were starting to plan to go north, and we're kind of optimistic about that. And then the scans provided some bad news, so now we're not really so sure. The next round is in early May, and that should maybe give us some insight, possibly. It's really hard to tell. So if it gives us good news, then, and Mom seems stable and things seem okay, then we do hope to poke our way up north and see how far we can get. If the scans bring back bad news, then things are likely progressing, and we'll probably have to stay local for the summer. So we kind of have both contingencies. We've got a few places lined up local where we can stay if it necessitates us being in the area for the summer, and we've got plans for kind of what it looks like if we're able to bump north. But all of that really depends on what the cancer decides to do and how well the treatments work. Because I would love to be off cruising with Arabella, and it's been very challenging in a lot of ways to be here in Harwichport for the winter. It's not the location that we would choose if we had much options. But we need to be here for my mom. So I appreciate everyone who's stuck around and the patrons who continue to support while we go through these trying times. And if we are here for the summer, we've got plans to do a lot of learning and get a lot of experienced folks on the boat and make it as beneficial to us and all of you and as fun as we possibly can. So just know we are doing our best, and thank you so much for sticking with us. It hasn't been an easy winter, and it might not be an easy summer, but we'll get through it, and we will get to traveling, and we will take Arabella to wild places. We just got to wait a little while longer. So thanks for being patient with us. I really appreciate it. So when I did the interior layout at Arabella and I put the fridge here, there was outcry about not being able to quickly replace the belt and quickly replace the impeller on the engine. I haven't been too concerned about that, and honestly the reason is if the fridge weren't here and this was just a door that you opened up and the engine died, it's going to take you a hot minute to get down here, figure out why the engine died. Maybe it's obvious and say the belt is shot. So you grab your spare belt, you undo the belt tensioner, you put the new belt on, you retension it, you get the engine started again. Unless you're like NASCAR pit crew and you practice that, it's going to take you a few minutes. And if you're really in imminent danger, you're just going to drop the anchor. We've got a 65-pound Mantis, we've got 200 feet of chain with another 100 feet of road behind that. We can add more line onto that if we needed to. There's no reason we can't just drop the anchor and keep ourselves put pretty much where we are. Or, she's a sailboat, you put up the sails. So it took me less than 5 minutes to move the fridge, and I know we are sitting still, and if the boat were pitching and rolling, it might take me 10 minutes to move the fridge. But I don't think that's going to severely make or break you getting out of danger. I think the sails and the anchor are really what's going to do it. And also, preventative maintenance. I think that's the big one. I have run all sorts of tractors and skid steers and backhoes and skidders and you name it. And I think I can count definitely on one hand the number of times a belt has broken. And every single one of those times, that belt has been frayed and worn and on there since who knows when. So I am much more of the mind that annually you jump in here and you take a look at the belt and see how it is, and every couple of years throw a new belt on it. This one does not have many hours, so I'm going to give it an inspection, and we'll just leave it on there. And I am going to switch out the impeller because it's a pretty inexpensive thing to do, and it's a very great safety measure. So now that the fridge is out of the way, I have phenomenal access to the front of this engine. This is all opened up. And let's clean some stuff out here and get to work. I gotta switch out the alternator. So I gotta undo the belt tensioner, unbolt the alternator, and remount the new one. I'm gonna switch out the raw water impeller and give everything a good look over and a scrub and a clean and get all of Akiva's hair out of here. And just make sure that everything's good to go before I put the fridge back, and hopefully it just sits there for another year. Let's get to work. Well, do you want the good news first or the bad news first? Let's do bad news first. The alternator, I did my best to pull measurements, and I was off. So here we have the old alternator, and here we have the new alternator, and it's just a little bit longer. So we can't put this one in, it's not going to be a drop-in, so we need to get the alternator with just a little bit different foot on them. So I should be able to exchange that, and let me send some measurements and pictures over to Ham and see if we can get that swapped out in the next few days. Good news, it all came out real easy and our impeller looks great. So I'm going to switch this out regardless. It's sat all winter, so you can see some of its veins are kind of stuck a little bit, but all in all it looks to be in great shape. It was really easy to come out. So on this particular engine we've got the Johnson water pump. It took me a little bit of calling and figuring to figure out which impeller I needed, because there is, oh man, a bewildering variety, but this is everything that we need. And it all looks correct so far. And then we'll put the pump back together at least. Alright, new impeller going in. Just took this line here and tied it around real tight so I could squish the veins down. Some folks online recommended line, some others said zip ties. I tried some line. So now we've got it started. Now we should just be able to push it in. Squishy, squishy. Alright, I finished shoving that in there. We'll lube her up, put the new gasket on, close it up, and should be good for another year. So the first time this spins up, it's going to be a little dry in there. So we want to put the impeller lubricant, fire this thing up, and then that'll keep things lubed while the first bit of water gets in there. All closed back up. A new impeller in place. That was pretty easy. And then we've got our belt and our big hole where our alternator goes. So I need to get an alternator with a narrower foot to fit on here. I mismeasured. It's kind of hard to get to it. Maybe I should have moved the fridge Get everything wiped down back here. It's looking a lot cleaner. Fished a couple little things out of the bilge. So I think we can put the sole back, put the fridge back. And these are just the two connections I have to undo to move the fridge. So I'll get those hooked back up. So it's going to be a couple days before I can get that alternator, and I'll just have to move the fridge again. Not a biggie. You're ending first.
Yeah. Okay. All right, she still floats.
I gotta get all those bumpers back installed if we're just gonna leave her tied in the water like that. And I had taken all the fenders off in the storm. I ordered pad eyes to permanently mount them. They'll be at your folks tomorrow.
Okay.
But I guess for now I'll just lash them back on so that there's something on there. The reason I'm pulling the alternator out, if you haven't been following along, and it's been kind of a back and forth story, is this alternator came with an internal regulator. And because of the lithium ion batteries, we need to run an alternator that externally regulates. So we were doing that with the Wake Speed 500. And I wanted to just put on a different alternator that was meant to be externally regulated. But I was led towards letting a gentleman named Fred, and I quote his words, not mine, neuter the alternator. So according to Fred, he disabled the internal regulator. What we found out very quickly after launch is that the batteries would be full and this thing would still be getting excited and trying to send power into the batteries. So we disconnected it, and we had the galvanic issues with the prop, and the anode was disappearing really quickly. Nigel believes it's from some sort of dissimilar metal. We tried switching out the stuffing material. My thought is that maybe this thing was producing 100 amps and it had nowhere to go, and that's what was frying it. Nigel says that was unlikely, and he would be one to know. And here is a brand new Balmar, and this is meant to have an external regulator. So it is all set to go to have the internal regulation just not hooked up, and for it to be externally regulated with something like the Wake Speed. So this should solve those problems. Now I went to put it in, and what I found out was that the feet here are a little different sized. So when I found that out, I hit pause, put everything back together, and reached out to Hamilton Ferris, who I got this from. And they said this is the only open foot style like this, and that I need to essentially just make it work. So could I steal parts off the old one? Could I fab up some parts? Just do what I need to do to get this to sit nice and snugly on there. So that is our challenge. First step was a longer bolt. So this is the bolt, the original alternator. There's a piece in the engine that fits right in here and holds the alternator firmly. And we can't have the alternator move too far forward or too far back, because then the belt isn't going to align and we're going to end up with all sorts of issues. So this space, we need to basically get that over here. And our bolt does not reach. So this is what I have picked up. A slightly longer bolt. They're both 3/8 diameter. And I got a stack of washers. Thankfully this is too big and not too small. And I think what we're going to do is pull this bushing out and pull this one out, because we have a much bigger space there than we do here. And that'll close up some of that distance. We might be able to take this spacer and use that to close up some more of the distance. But that's where the stack of washers come in. So we can use these to pad out, and we can put them one or two on this side if we need to move this over on the mount a little bit so that that belt gets aligned. So let's pull this out. Let's pull this out, see if we can get that reassembled and close to what it needs to be. And we'll get that fridge moved, climb back there, and see if we can get this bolted in. So it turns out we need the vise on the boat to work on the alternator. So we just open up this split a little bit, and we should be able to get it to go in and stay put. Alright, we got our new bolt. We can throw that spacer in there, but I think that might be too short. And that is more in the ballpark of where we want to be. So using the nut and the washer here to push this over a little bit and just make sure that we're sitting flush on the outside. Optimistic that wiring this up isn't going to be too tricky. The instructions seem pretty good. But first we gotta get this jerry-rigged bit figured out. When I had it in yesterday, I realized that I need about 2 or 3 washers right here to be able to push this that way and get proper belt alignment. But the problem is there's the part in the engine that goes in here that you bolt through. So I need to hold this, start the bolt through, slide a pair of washers in, and not drop them in the bilge. Slide it through the part on the engine. Stack up more washers in here, still holding the alternator, and not drop those in the bilge. Get the bolt through. So we're going to use some of this Total Bond, and it comes with an accelerator. And I'm going to glue these washers there so that I don't need to mess with them. And I'm going to glue a couple of these washers together so that I just have to slide in a stack of them and not trying to hold them individually. I think this is going to make this a heck of a lot easier. So we've got our accelerator. Nice thing with this stuff with the accelerator is it dries instantly. All right. Okay, I think this is our final stack. So we have the fitting that we took out of the old alternator. I have it pushed out a little bit now so that we've got a little bit more room so it's easier to fit. And when we snug the bolt down, it'll pull this tight against the fitting in the middle. And we ended up with a triple washer stack. So there's 3 glued on there. We'll pop this back in and give it one more test fit, but I think this is going to give us pretty solid alignment, and we can go on to wiring it up. So, belt's tight. Everything's all wired up back there. I grabbed the belt information while I was here. I'm going to order up one of those because there is a chance I'm off on the alignment a bit. There is a chance we're going to eat the belt. So belt is a great thing to have a spare or two on hand anyways. So I can get those ordered up. And we got to reprogram the wake speed and hook up the positive power. And then we can try this thing out. Let's see if I did it right.
Guess what we're doing? We're going on vacation. So about a year ago, my mom called me. She had found this, it's called the Wainwright's Walk. And you hike across England. So you start at St. Bees Head, and you pick a rock up off the beach, and then you hike straight across the country to Robinson Bay, and you drop the rock back in the ocean. And she wanted me to come because she's not very comfortable navigating. And then I was telling Steve about it, and of all the vacations I've taken and all of the places I've been, this one he was like, drinking pints, English countryside, sheep, I'm in. And I was like, okay, awesome. So we planned this about a year ago. And then as the situation changed with his mom, we weren't really sure if we were going to be able to go. But it looks like the stars have aligned, and it looks like we'll be able to make the trip happen. So we are leaving tonight. You know you have found your perfect match when you can both pack 2.5 weeks worth of hiking and backpacking gear into one bag and be under the weight limit.
Like Robin said, the stars aligned. My sister was able to come out from Nebraska to stay with my mom while we're gone, so there's plenty of support for her. And George Hennihan was able to come up from Florida and stay with Akiva and Arabella. And Saquatucket Harbor, we were supposed to be out May 1st, but they're letting us stay a little bit later. So Arabella has a perfectly safe place to be. She has got a good caretaker. Akiva's got somebody to look after him. So I can leave and rest easy knowing that things here are in good shape. The weather is finally breaking, and I got everything that George needs to work on some varnish and paint, because I know he's going to want projects to do while he's here for the couple weeks. And at this point, he's pretty skilled at it. So we'll see, hopefully we'll come back and Arabella will be looking a little fresher than she is now. And when we get back, we need to vacate Saquatucket ASAP. So the first weather window when we get back, we're going to be on the move, and I really look forward to that. I can't wait to test the reefs and the stack packs and get to moving. It's been a long stationary winter, and this will be the start of the cruising season when we return. We're not going to do videos the next 2 weeks while Robin and I are in England. We learned our lesson in New Mexico, so we're just going to take a couple weeks off. We're going to take a little bit of a spring break, give Ben a couple weeks off from editing a weekly video, which I'm sure he will enjoy. And when we get back, we will have a full video of doing the Wainwright's Walk, which should be some beautiful scenery, and it'll be just come do the Wainwright's Walk with us. I think that'll be fun. And then right after that, we get into cruising and sailing for the season and testing and hopefully not breaking all of the new systems that we put in over the winter. So next time you see us, we'll be in England. So one of the things I've noticed with the boat after 10 months on the water is we're getting a light film of mold growing on a lot of things, but it seems to be growing on the finished wood, and it seems to just be whatever little residual construction, dust and debris didn't get totally cleaned up. And it seems like almost everything has just sprouted a tiny, tiny film of mold, and then I've cleaned it once well, and that was it. And it doesn't seem to be coming back. And that makes sense, because there's a lot of this stuff that got put in, and work was still being done, and dust was still being created. And I think that just little film on everything is what caused it, because all the wood in the boat is pretty heavily treated. And there's varying schools of thought on salt in wooden boats. The salt can definitely be a preservative for the wood, but the other thing the salt does is it attracts moisture, and it'll pull this moisture out of the air, and you'll end up with these wet spots. And the salt water is not bad, but that constant supply of fresh water is. So I think I agree with the school of thought that salt water is not bad for your wooden boat, but having your wooden boat be covered in actual salt is. So I try to keep it cleaned up as best we can, because I'd like Arabella to last a really long time, and a huge part of her lasting is going to be the cleaning and the maintenance and staying on top of things.